Hello, welcome to the video on graphing and solving systems of linear equations. Here's a bit of vocabulary for you. A system of equation is a collection of two or more equations with the same set of unknowns, meaning variables. In solving the system of equations, we're going to try to find values for each of the unknowns that will satisfy each equation in the system. There are three methods by which you solve systems, one being graphing, substitution method, and elimination method. We're going to focus on graphing today. Let's take a look at a problem where we would have to graph to find y values and x values that would fit in and solve both equations. We're going to make sure that we understand we're going to graph these in slope-intercept form. In this first equation, the slope is negative 1/6 and the y-intercept is negative 4. In the second equation, the slope is negative 1 and the y-intercept is negative 9. We're going to start graphing these using what we know about graphing slope-intercept equations. The b value in y equals mx plus b, and this one is negative 4. On the y-axis, this vertical line right here, we're going to start at negative 4, and we're going to follow the slope of negative 1/6 to our next point, repeating that 2 or 3 times so that we could get a good straight line. Starting at negative 4 that we marked already, we're going to follow our slope of negative 1/6. We can graph it in two directions, negative 1/6, or we can graph it with positive 1 over negative 6. We can graph it in forward or reverse. Let's go negative 1 over positive 6 to start off with. So we're going to go down 1 in the negative direction on the y-axis and positive 6, 3, 4, 5, 6. To put our second dot, and we'll graph it backwards, positive 1 over negative 6. That means up 1 on the y-axis and to the left in the negative direction, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we'll get 3 good points to draw a line with. To make sure you take a straight edge and connect the points, make sure you line them up very neatly because neatness counts in math. And we're going to use our straight edge going through the graph, making sure we put arrows at both ends. Okay. Then we're going to graph the second one, starting off at negative 9. Negative 9 is right here on the graph, and we're going to follow a negative 1 slope. That would be negative 1 over positive 1, or we can follow it as positive 1 over negative 1. We can graph backwards and forwards. Let's go ahead and do that. We're going to start here with negative 1 over positive 1. So down 1 and to the left 1. We only have one space we could go to. But since we want to go this so that we have a perfectly good straight line, let's graph a few points in the backwards direction of positive 1 over negative 1, up 1 to the left 1, up 1 to the left 1, just following that pattern. And I like to do it until my two lines touch, and you'll notice that it starts growing long and it crosses right here at this point. That is going to be the point we're going to be interested in. Go ahead and make our line, making sure that we hold it straight, graph through the graph, and arrows at both ends. When the two graphs cross, that point right there is the solution that's going to be used to determine if both of these are going to be the same on both sides when I plug in that x and y value. That x and y value happens to be negative 6 comma negative 3. So we're going to plug in negative 6 comma negative 3 into our equation. Let's take a look at that. The first one says, well, y is negative 3, so we're going to say negative 3 is equal to negative 1/6 times negative 6 minus 3. If we simplify this, then we have multiplication here. Negative 1/6 of negative 1 is positive 1. Should be a 4 there. Should be positive 1 because negative 1/6 times negative 6 is positive 1 minus 4. And I get negative 3 on the left side there. And when I combine 1 and negative 4, I get negative 3 is equal to negative 3. So that's the solution for the very first problem. Let's try the second one. Plugging in -3 for y, -1 minus -1x, and x is -6. We're going to plug in a -6 here, minus 9. So -1 times -9 is +6 minus 9, and that's equal to -3 on the left. 6 minus 9 is -3, -3 on the left, and that's true. -3 does equal -3, and therefore we have a solution that solves both equations. So by graphing, I found that -6, -3 is the solution set that solves both of these equations. Let's go ahead and do this one more time. Here's our next problems. Slope-intercept form, we're going to start here at -8. Right here at the bottom. Start here at -8. And then our rest of it says a 5/2 slope, or 5/2 slope. That means I'm going to go up 5 and to the left, up 5 and to the right 2. So we're going to go at this point, we're going to go up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and to the right 2, 1, 2. Up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and to the right 2. Then we get 2 or 3 points there, and we're going to graph those 3 points, drawing our line, making sure it's straight as possible, making sure it's very straight. We might have, let's go ahead and extend that a little bit. My marker's not quite long enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. There we go. That's a good enough lines. We shall graph those lines. Just neat. That's on this side. Arrow on that end. And down here, get these points. Making sure they're straight. It's important. Neatness counts in math. And there's my graph for that point. Let's do the second one. It starts at +4, which is this point right here, and follows a 1/2 slope. Up 1, 1, 2, up 1, and over to the right 2, 1, 2, up 1 to the right 2, up 1 to the right 2, and it's going to cross at that point right there. Let's go ahead and cross our graph, connecting our dots. Okay. Going on the side, finishing up. Let's follow it backwards. Down 1 to the left 2, down 1 to the left 2. There we go. Got some good points. So that goes through our graph. Nice and neat. Arrows at both ends. And you'll see that we found this point right here, and that point is +6, +7. So this point, 6, 7, is a solution for our equation. Let's check it. 6, 7. Well, y is 7, x is 6, so 5/2 times 6 minus 8. 5/2, that's 30 divided by 2 is 15. 15 minus 8. And 15 minus 8 is 7. So yes, 7 is equal to 7, so that's the solution for the first one. Let's try the next one. Y again is 7. 1/2 times x, and x is 6, plus 4. 1/2 of 6 is 3, plus 4. 3 plus 4 is 7. 7 equals 7. So yes, it also is a solution to the equation. Go ahead and follow these 2 examples and see if you can complete the next 2 examples in your work. Alright guys, go ahead and get your classwork done.